I realised recently the last time I went to a gym was 37 years ago. 37 years, seems like it's gone in a flash. I quit going to the gym after I won the Southern England bodybuilding title. It just didn't serve my needs in that I wanted a self-acceptance and a mental strength that I found that the bodybuilding fraternity just couldn't give me. So when people hear this, they say to me, "You haven't been to the gym for 37 years. I thought you were really into training." And I am really into training, but I just don't find the need to do it at the gym. And guys, for you watching, you don't need to either. I think it'd be far more beneficial for you to convert a room in your house or just train outdoors. Most of the time, weather permitting, even when it's not, I will train outdoors because it's just better for you. And the amount of equipment you need is relatively very small. So I do have my own training equipment here. It's very basic. It gives me everything that I need, but it is still far more beneficial than going to the gym. Most of those machines you see at the gym are better off being used as clothing hangers than anything else. You just don't need them. They don't give you that functional strength and power and ability that most guys are really looking for. We've become obsessed with the physical look, thinking that's going to make us some sort of courageous men of confidence, and it's one of the biggest bodybuilding myths going. It won't, and it doesn't. So I'm going to look into this so we can go into this a little bit more further. So over the coming few weeks, I'm going to look at our framework. Let's give ourselves a reminder. Here it is now on the screen. So we got thought, creating your reality, food, energy, mood and focus, and movement, physical and mental resilience. And isn't that what we're really after on the movement side of things? Physical and mental resilience. That's what we really want. Most men are looking for some sort of heroic figure within themselves they can unleash and tap into and find something that's an incorruptible force of power they can rely on. So we're going to look at those things. We're going to look at them. I'm going to try and introduce some things to you that you might not have ever heard before when it comes to thought, food and movement, because I'm aware that there's a lot of videos on training. I'm aware there's a lot of videos on food and how your thoughts create your reality. So I'm just going to give you my experience to look at things a little bit more differently. But once again, guys, I want you to get into this idea that it's not an idea, it's an actual fact. You don't need to go to the gym. You can build amazing levels of fitness strength without going to the gym. And I mentioned in another video, I recommend you train most days. It's far easier to follow a habit if you're training every day than what it is if you're just going 2 or 3 times a week. You tend to miss it. So training every day, but not going all out, is a way to actually incorporate it into your daily routine so it becomes something that you do without even thinking about it, and your body gets used to it and it actually starts to really look forward to it and desire it. That sort of training on a regular basis. So let's look at the gym. We're running on a treadmill is a poor substitute for running outdoors. Being forced into a fixed line of movement on a machine is a poor substitute for using free weights or body weight, where you've got a freer range of movement and you have to work your legs and core more in order to stabilize that weight. Getting yourself under a squat rack is a poor substitute for actually having to lift the weight from the floor before you press or squat with it. In fact, I had an instructor once, he said something I've never forgotten to me. He said, if you have to get under a rack in order to lift the weight, then you're actually not capable of lifting that weight. And there's compression on the spine, it's not good for you, and lower back injuries, knee injuries. So he changed it. So if you can't clean that weight off the floor, and before you squat with it, don't squat with it. It was really good advice. I've never had any injuries like that to do weights or resistance training in any shape or form. So it was really good advice, and it might just benefit yourselves as well, guys. So if we look at the gym, we realise that training is uncomfortable. We're trying to create a place of comfort within our discomfort, laying down, pressing weights. And we've got so used to this, we think, well, that's the advanced way to do things. That's the only way to do things. But actually, as you're going to learn over the coming weeks, you can do things a lot differently and use some really funky training methods to actually facilitate an incredible result. And going to the gym, I'm going to say one last thing about this. So we shifted from a mindset of survival and combat, which is what the original Greek Olympic Games was based on, survival situations and combat, to recreation, ball games and the physical look only. So you get the modern Olympic Games, you've got beach volleyball, you've got tennis, you've got all kinds of events like that now. You wouldn't have had that in the original Olympic Games because it was only based on survival and combat. Now the mindset behind training for survival and combat is very different to playing a bat and ball sport. I'm not knocking these things, by the way. I love watching the Wimbledon every year with the tennis. I think it's great athletic ability. But there's a different mindset between somebody that's training for survival and combat to those things. And I think if you're going to go out there and achieve anything incredible in life, whether you want to start your own business, whether you want to learn a tough martial art and get a black belt in, say, judo or sambo or any of those really tough martial arts, you're going to have that mindset, and you're going to have to train in a way that's got that mindset, because I don't think it's spoken about enough. When you do any of those things, that what I call the narrow path, things that most people won't do, you're going to have a mindset that backs that up, because at some point it's going to get really hard, really tough, and you will suffer. And if you're not physically adept and you're not physically capable and you're not controlling what you eat and how you think and how you train, you're going to get crushed. So these things are really, really important. So you can look on self-discipline as the portal to potential. And that portal to potential is going to make you into a conduit of energy of the highest possibilities that you can entail. And let's look at what Abraham Maslow, I love this quote, what he said. It's so good. I'm going to read it to you now. So he said, "We fear our highest possibilities. We are generally afraid to become that which we can glimpse in our most perfect moments under conditions of great courage. We enjoy and even thrill to godlike possibilities we see in ourselves in such peak moments, and yet will simultaneously shiver with weakness, awe and fear before these very same possibilities." What a wonderful quote. Godlike possibilities. This is the importance of self-discipline. If you want to be a conduit of energy for your highest possibilities, you have to master those three things. You have to, period. So you have to control a physical fitness routine that's going to make you mentally strong. You have to control what you consume, master your palate, as Gandhi said. You have to have a thought-based philosophy that aims at courage, and you'll become a force. So that is the highest possibilities that we can attain. So let me give you some ideas. I'm going to go through the Akhada Indian bodyweight training system over the next couple of weeks, so you can have a look at that. You can watch me do it. I'll show you clips of what I do. So recently I've just come back from Kefalonia. First video since I've been away, and I did this every day. And it's just phenomenal. By the beach, on the beach, Dandes, Indian push-ups, Bathaks, Indian squats, bridging and push-ups, different bits and pieces to really train the body with breath work, with stretching. It's just amazing. Most guys I train, that alone stops them going to the gym. Because even when it gets easy, you stick on a weighted jacket, it becomes very, very difficult again. So not every man out there is training to be a bodybuilder. Very, very few. Not every man out there is training to be a combat athlete to train in the ring. Very, very few. But what you can do is get the most out of the time you've got. If you just did half an hour a day, it would literally transform you. Not just your body, but how you think. We'll also look at intermittent fasting. Once again, I'm aware there's loads of people doing this. I want to teach you. I want to share with you the way I was taught it with my first mentor, Peter Hudson, who was way ahead of his time. I met this guy decades ago, and he was doing this stuff then. So I'll introduce some of the stuff that he spoke about, and he was teaching a lot of British rock stars and celebrities at the time as well. So we go through that as well. And lastly, the underpinning foundation of it all, the philosophy of courage, a code of honor, what you stand for, to underpin everything for you. And think about that. What sort of man is going to grow a really great business, a trustworthy one that people respect and go back to? The man that's got a code of honor, or the man that deceives and lies and cheats his way to the top? I wonder which one do you think will last the longest? That's why the self-discipline here is so important, because it actually protects what really matters to you. Everything in your life, what really matters. So we're going to go through these things. Okay, until next time.